What I wouldn't do to be 10 years old again. The year was 1999, and my infatuation with horror was just starting to take hold of my life. At that juncture, I was being molded by what I idolized: hair metal, hip-hop, MTV, wrestling, but most of all, scary movies. My infatuation, which my parents I assumed thought was a phase, eventually grew into something much larger: a passion. A passion that has given me an identity and a sense of belonging. I'm not sure if my passion would have taken such a strong foothold in my life if it wasn't for the movie we're talking about today. The movie that captivated and terrified me at 10 years old and still remains one of my favorites. Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez's The Blair Witch Project. It was released to audiences in '99, and it changed the way directors make movies, changed the way production companies marketed their film, and it changed the way audiences engaged into movies. Blair Witch led audiences to believe that the movie they were watching was indeed found footage from lost campers who were killed by a supernatural being. I can't explain how fast this movie spread. It was groundbreaking. People honestly thought these people were dead. Internet was nowhere near what it is today back in '99. Fact-checking on Google and hopping on IMDb pages just weren't a thing. That's why the marketing team were geniuses for the Blair Witch. They had a pretty extensive website in 1999 that explained the legend of the Blair Witch and the legend of the missing campers. It made viewers feel if they were a part of something bigger than them. Now, in a post-internet 9/11 world, it's kind of hard to believe that people were so naive, but I was there. I was one of them. Just a 10-year-old boy who became addicted and borderline obsessive to the whole story. What a time to be alive. Now, there's a lot of ambiguity regarding the budget for this movie, but numbers say anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000. Even if we assume it's $500,000, they cleaned house, bringing in a box office gross of $248 million. Now, I understand that not everyone enjoys this movie, but there's no way you can't respect it. The Blair Witch is undoubtedly a pillar of horror, and it changed the way films are made forever. So, providing that I don't overdose on nostalgia over here, what do you say we take a minute to unpack our tent, check the map, and dive right into our take on The Blair Witch Project.
He's about to say it. He's about to say it. Is he gonna say it?
Boom!
Oh my God, he said it!
Welcome to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. I am your host and your scary movie companion, Christian Ramey, and I am here with the best producer in the world, Ozark Mark. What's up, Mark?
I'm feeling pretty good here today. How are you, Mr. Christian Ramey?
I'm feeling great, man. We're in the new studio here. I mean, same location, but upgraded. I don't know if you viewers will have much of a difference, but we've definitely got an upgrade here. It's later than usual, and I'm happy to be here to talk about one of our favorite movies together. This is another movie that Ozark is well educated on, because as Ozark has stated, Ozark really likes horror movies, but he's not a nerd.
Nope,
okay?
Not a nerd.
I myself am kind of a fucking nerd, and that's
nerd.
okay.
Big nerd.
But we are both a little nerdy about this movie, so this should be a very fun episode to unpack everything. It was a movie we were alive for, so that does make a huge difference.
It does make a huge difference.
It does, and I mean, there's movies that scared me that came out before I was alive, and you know, I was born in '89. Mark, you're like 92, correct?
No, I'm 91.
91, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's about to be 30.
So I was, this movie came out in 1999. Very different from any episode that we've done before.
Yes. Mark actually recommended this very early on, and I said, of course, we're going to do a Blair Witch episode, and he's like, nah, let's do it now.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, he did.
No, I didn't. I said it would be a good idea to talk about a pillar of horror, because that's what you want to talk about. The one that revolutionized found footage forever.
Mark, this isn't just a pillar of horror. This is a pillar of cinema. And most people, most people that were alive in that time frame understand. And there was a lot of people that trashed the movie as well. But it really changed the way that people market movies, changed the way that they filmed them. And nowadays, people are very... watching something through a shaky cam is normal. We watch TikToks, we watch things on Instagram, Reddit, YouTube, whatever. People are cameramans all the time.
Horrible cameramen.
Yeah,
Or woman, whatever you got between your legs.
There's a whole subreddit dedicated to called Kill the Cameraman for like videos that could have been so cool, but the cameraman's just the worst. They just pan away at the worst moment. And then sometimes somebody will post a video that's not in that, but then they'll put it in the comments and say like, kill the cameraman. It's like,
I agree with about half the videos I've seen on YouTube so far in my lifetime.
So Ozark Mark is very correct with the found footage. This sparked a lot of it. And for you people who weren't alive, and maybe that's some of you. Maybe that's some of you listening. I don't know who's listening, or maybe you weren't old enough. But in 1999, the internet very much in the babe stages. I mean, you're a dial-up.
It's nothing compared to what it is now.
Correct. I mean, you were on dial-up. You couldn't use the telephone in your house if you were on the internet. And
you didn't have the internet in your pocket.
Yeah, and you know how long it would take to like get to a website? I mean, seriously, probably every bit of like 2.5 minutes to like get it there, load up all the pictures, and to get to what you wanted to do.
Especially back in the day when you were IMing.
Yeah.
When you were IMing bitches and they send you a picture and you just see it slowly loading down bar by bar.
Ozark Mark is a frequent of the word bitches. He loves it. He loves the call.
Man, I love bitches. It's a fun word, man. It's not offensive.
It is.
Not today.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it ain't,
I think you don't leave your house enough. And that's okay because I don't either. But it's a pretty rocky climbing out there.
Well, that's fine because I'm not leaving the house when I say it, so it's fine.
That's true. And I know Ozark Mark. He always has good intentions. So
I got good intention for these bitches.
Yeah, and let's be honest. He was talking about back in the day. So maybe he's speaking of people that actually are. So we don't know.
You never know.
But 1999,
yes,
internet kind of takes off like a craze on certain websites. And the Blair Witch Project was one of those. This movie was led the audience to believe that it was real, that it was 100% real, that these people died, and they gave a whole history of who they were, where they went to school, and then they told a little history about the Blair Witch. It was a very interactive website for 1999. Now it looks like a PBS Kids game, like not the same content, but just like the level of software.
Does the website still exist?
I don't know. Maybe you could still find it. But that was, it took off like a craze. Not really sure if this movie could have worked at any other time frame than what it did. But when it did, it really did. It just took over the whole world, and it made movies different. It made the way people said, hey, we can market this like, it's real, or we can hit the internet heavy. That wasn't a thing before. Before it's like, we have TV commercials, newspaper ads, that kind of thing. This was almost like an underground thing. This is for a couple people who were on the internet like, yo, these guys died and they're going to release the footage in a movie.
Yeah. And you think about it too, right, is it's 1999, so you said the internet was very young at this point. The internet now, I mean, you believe like maybe 20% of the stuff you read half the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could tell when something's stupid or bogus or whatever, but I'm sure back in 1999, whatever people saw on the internet, they had a higher chance of believing, up to like at least more than 50% of what you read on the internet.
I don't think people understand too. I mean, in a weird way, I think the country, in a sense, I mean, everything was very naive pre 9/11. I mean, it really was. Like, people didn't question things as much. Like, you can watch, like, an action movie, and the dude shoots a car, and it blows up like it was, like, a nuclear bomb, and people are like, yeah, that's what happens when you shoot the gas tank. Nowadays, people are like, oh, that would never happen, or this could. People are a lot more speculative, and one sad reason is, when you see crazy stuff on TV already, you kind of have an expectation of what's real. So the Blair Witch Project was able to deliver a very realness, something that seems so real. So let's talk a little here about the cast, okay? A lot of you maybe are familiar with this, and maybe a lot of you aren't. So I'm going to talk to you as if you have no idea, all right? The three actors who starred in this, you have Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and then Joshua. What's that guy's last name? Joshua's.
It's either Leonard
Leonard, yeah, Joshua.
Or Leonard, depending on where he's from.
It's not Leonard, it's Leonard. Yeah, Joshua Leonard.
Can we say Leonard? It's way funner to say Leonard.
Leonard.
Joshua Leonard.
Joshua Leonardo. Okay.
If he was Italian, he'd be way cooler.
He would be cooler. Would have made it a
Leonardo.
I tell you, witch, get out of these woods right now.
I'm not going over that log.
So when they hired these guys weren't, and one lady, but guys, when they hired them, they had regular daytime jobs. They were college students. They were starting off actors, just hoping and wishing. And they hired onto this, and they used their real names. That's their real names. So in the movie, they used their actual names. Now, Heather Donahue kind of gets more of the credit. You really know her last name more, but Josh and Mike, everybody knows the three.
Mm-hmm.
And this very much, I liken this to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You remember how we discussed how they didn't have a very skilled, or I don't want to say skilled because they made a great movie, but a very experienced cast. So they work for kind of cheap. They're very naive, and they'll agree to a bunch of dumb shit. And this is the case in this, like sleeping in the woods for fucking 8 days. I mean, the movie was 8 days shoot. They weren't in the woods, every one of them. But these people actually slept in the woods and shit.
Yeah.
These directors didn't give these actors like a full insight on exactly what was going on. They would just give them little cards from time to time, and they were told to keep these cards from one another. So they were told to just pretty much react to whatever was going to happen with what was ever on their cue card, which was very, vague.
Well, the improv is really fantastic. I mean, it's unreal. Now, I don't know how easy it is to improv, but I'm sure it's hard to improv the way they did because, like you said, they had cue cards. So they knew that the directors and the crew were going to fuck with them and create these situations for them to react to, right?
Yeah.
So they have that back in your feeling of your mind like you're going to be okay. But he said, I think it was Mike in the panel thing he was talking about. He said, he's like, I know that this is a situation that they're going to fuck with me at this point, but I just got to turn that off and act like it's real and believe it's real.
Yeah, yeah.
And
believe the scenario.
Them not knowing, and that's what I think made their reactions to each other so real, because I could relate to all of their reactions mostly, because they reacted just how they should, like how you would expect them to react. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How else would you? And they're young, they're naive, they're trying to make something. They really put these people in the woods. They're staying out there. They weren't eating great. They had them like eating not a lot, and they were all getting pissed off with each other. And they made it work. But Mark's absolutely right. When you watch, you see a very raw emotion amongst all these actors, and it's real. It's real kind of what they're going through. They don't know what's coming next, and it's very kind of cruel punishment. But there's this thing in horror. I mean, I'm sure it's happened in other movies too. But
Listen, okay. Even in this is back in 1999, right?
Yeah.
It's 2021 now.
Sure.
You pay me $1,000 a day, I'll sleep out in the fucking woods for 8 days, only eat power bars, and act. That's $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like how many hours would it take for you to make $1,000 in one day? More than 24, I'm guessing. So there's you know what you're going into, and I know you're gonna get pissy and bitchy because you're going through this, but shit, I mean,
yeah, man,
don't feel bad for them at all. I don't think they were tortured at all in any sense.
Well,
or trying to.
I here's where I do sympathize to some degree. The point that I was getting at was like sometimes in horror, these people, like William Friedrich when he made The Exorcist, there's a point where the priest. There's Father Marin and Father Karras. So Karras is sitting there, and the phone rings, and it's like it really shocks him, and it's a very shocking scene. But to make him turn his head like that, William Friedrich just fired a fucking shotgun, like, he didn't know he was gonna fire it. You know, like They did these crazy things, like we mentioned too in The Shining, how Stanley Kubrick really fucked with Shelley Duvall in that movie, and she's like looks terrified in that movie, and some of that shit's really real.
Yeah.
We talked about the baby baboons and how they really fucked with that girl in The Omen. Like,
Yeah.
there's a shit that they did in horror, and I'm not educated enough in all film like I am horror. I don't know how much they did this shit in other movies, but it looks like the Blair Witch just got its fair dose of scary, panicky shit that you get in horror.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I feel bad, though, is that they used their names, and it kind of fucked up their career. So Joshua Leonard, he managed to, I think he did the best out of all of them as far as managing an acting career. So he's been in a couple smaller films. I don't even know what fucking movies he has been in. It's going to take me a second for it to come up. But you know who he's married to?
No.
So did you watch that movie, The Goon? The one that had Stifler in it, Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
He was a hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
You remember his girlfriend in that? Like the girl that he ended up dating?
I don't know. Is she hot?
Simi, yeah. Yeah. She was drinking beers and shit with him.
Oh, okay. That's her?
Yeah, that's his wife.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Good for you. Yeah, getting slime on that shit.
It is slime, man. What is that?
That's such a funny part in this movie.
There are a lot of funny parts, and because I feel like if you're a dude or if you're a girl, same thing, but I feel like their frustration that they display, like I can relate to it so much. Like let's for instance, when they're first crossing the stream or the river or whatever, and that's that long, big log. So Josh has to sit there, and he's going first, and he's just crawling, like hands and knees. And, he's like really focusing on not trying to fall in. And then Heather's just back there like, imagine what it's going to be like when we get to the graveyard.
And he's like, will you shut the fuck up?
No.
She says, okay, I'm sorry.
Well, she's like, it's going to be great when we get there. And he's just full blown, shut the fuck up.
You know what's a funny part to me? It was kind of similar to that later on in the movie after they've been trekking in the woods for a while. And I'll give you a little synopsis after this, but they're walking through the woods for some time, and they have to cross this river, and he fucking gets wet, and he goes, don't go that way. I just went that way. I got my shit wet. I'm telling you, don't go that way. And they go that way, and they all get wet. So, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Blair Witch Project, this is shot as if in, it's like with camcorders, right? And it's filmed by the three of them, and they're college students, and what they want to do is go out into the woods, and, well, first they go to Blair, Maryland, where the witch legend is from, and they go around the town asking people, before the movie really gets into the scary parts, they go around the town asking people if they know about it, and they have a couple little interviews with town people. Not too creepy, kind of cool, just seems like a college student film project. So then these fuckers go out into the woods to do some research, and they camp, and then they're going to go to some graveyards. They're out in these woods, and they want to just do some cool shots. And they manage to find these graveyards in these little locations, but once they're out there, they can't get their way out. And they have to keep camping for nights on end. And every night, shit just keeps fucking with them. And then eventually, one of them goes missing when they wake up. And then that leads to the conclusion of the movie. So
it's such a simple concept when you talk about it. If somebody hates this movie, they'll be like, oh, you mean the three jerk-offs in the woods that just walked around forever? If you look at it like that, yeah, you'd probably hate this movie. I'm assuming, but
it doesn't seem like actors when they're talking, though. Like you said, how you pointed out, where it's just like, will you shut the fuck up? It's not like overacting. These people are just kind of talking with you. It's what it would be like, the conversations you would have if you were lost in the woods.
It's really the realness of it is what makes it so great, and it's not like all the other found footage movies that you probably watch. Like, I don't know what's that Cloverfield one, the Paranormal Activity, all the found footage movies don't compare to this because they didn't have any special effects, no CGI. They were actually camping out there for 8 days. Like, they were actually living what they were acting, pretty much. and it made it, and it just works. It's crazy, and I can't tell you how many times I've watched this movie, and I always still get into it. Like I start believing it again for a second, even though I know it's fake.
Yeah, man.
And I always get sucked into it too. And I'm telling you, there's some scenes where I get a little bit that feeling in my stomach, that unsettling, like kind of nervous a little bit, especially when they go into the house. Even though I know it's fake, I've seen it a million times, but it still does what it.
If you watch this alone in your house, you're like, all right.
You have to watch this alone in your house.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun.
I watched it at home. I watched it alone last night.
So I seriously probably watch this movie 25, 30 times a year. This movie's actually really close to my heart. Like my parents were like in their 20s when this came out, so I just remember being a kid when this came out, and this shit was badass. It was just really cool. They let me watch it. I remember getting really into it, being one of those people that kind of fell into the internet thing, and I totally believed it too. And what they told Josh, Mike, and Heather to do, that like in their contract, they had to like lay low for weeks. They had to like pretend they were dead.
That's insane too. Like the lengths, like I said, the length that they went to make this seem as real as possible, which is hilarious to me, because there's no way in hell, if somebody found this footage, if this footage was actually real and somebody found it, there's no way in hell they're going to produce it as a movie. There's just no, you know what I mean? That's no way. It's technically a snuff film if it was real.
Yeah.
But they did everything possible, you know what I mean? Like even in the when the movie starts, all it does is start up the logo of who basically produced the film. It just says blank text, The Blair Witch Project. Goes right into it. There's no opening credits. There's no music. The only music that's in it is in the credits, and that's very eerie music.
Very
too.
ominous.
Yes. So they got that. Bam, that's gone. You know what I mean? And then just the found footage aspect of it is the only time that's been done, I think, was it's a movie from the 80s. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. It's called Cannibal something.
Cannibal Holocaust.
They didn't know about that movie when they wrote Blair Witch. And it's funny, and he said that if they knew about Cannibal Holocaust, he wouldn't have even made Blair Witch altogether.
But yeah, I'm familiar with the movie. I've seen Cannibal Holocaust quite a few times, and with that movie, they had a court case with Cannibal Holocaust. As a matter of fact, they had to like bring the director into court and have the actors that played in the movie show up to be like, "Yeah, I'm not dead." They thought it was a snuff film to that point.
And that was in the 80s too. But there's no, if it was real, but yet what they did, people still believed it. The website, the backstories, and the length of them not having to talk to any media or pretend they're dead.
Yeah.
That's insane. And the directors also said they were looking on websites like IMDb or something, or, I don't know if Rotten Tomatoes was around yet or not, but he said that people were writing that they were dead, and he didn't correct it.
Of course. I mean, that's going to up the sales. I mean,
what dedication, though. I mean, that's an extent of going to make something seem as real.
They didn't really give us a full budget on that, too. They say it's like from $250,000 to $500,000. But even if you say it's that $500,000, I mean, what, dude? They made like $260-something million. Was that what it was?
They made, I think it's $248 million.
Yeah, dude, just under $250.
And they only had to pay 3 people $8,000 each.
Right.
And then when their acting is over, they took them to Denny's.
Yeah, they did though.
They did. That was their reward. Is they took them to Denny's
on Halloween.
I'm guessing that that was the only restaurant in town, because I think the town only has a population of like 180 people or something. It's a very, very small town.
I've actually been there.
Have you?
Yeah. Yeah, my parents were so into this fucking movie that we went up there. Like we did a trip for like the whole Upper East Coast, but we made a stop for that. Believe it or not. And I'm not bullshitting you. I put this on everything. Now, you remember the old cameras that you get, like the Polaroids, and then or not the Polaroid, but the ones, you had to take in.
And you got to wind.
Yeah. It was one of those.
If you opened it up in light, it'd be fucked.
Right. And this was in the summer, and it was hot, and it was probably just because it was in a fucking car. But all the pictures we took of like the graveyards and the church and shit, all the photos came out backwards. I shit you not. I can prove it to you. I'll post them.
Of just the graveyard or every photo in the town? Was it just the photos of the church and the graveyard that came back backwards? What do you mean came back backwards?
Yeah, it came back. The image came flipped. You know, I'm saying this is probably like 2000, 2001 when this happened. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure if it was all of them, but it was quite a few of them. But we took a lot of pictures when we were in those areas. So pretty weird. Could have been the heat from the camera. Could have been whatever. I don't know.
I don't know. You could have put the film in backwards, or the person who developed I don't know. I'm just at the age to where I started getting into this is that nobody used those anymore. It all became digital, so I have no idea. But that's very crazy situation.
And wacky.
That's very wacky. You got some wacky film there.
Yeah, so that's kind of a neat aspect too. If you really think about it, just it's supernatural, but it's not like angels and demons necessarily like you're used to, or ghosts. It's like a witch that you're not seeing. And another funny part of this movie, when they're in that interview part, when they're going around and they're like checking out the people that they're interviewing, they go to this lady's house named Mary Brown, and this lady was like real deal nuts. Like her house, all Josh, Heather, and Mike, they thought it was like a prop, like a like a stage set, and they're like going through like filming all her fucking house. And this girl is crazy. She's the scariest looking thing in the movie.
Oh yeah, she
like
was
looking.
Dude, she was cuckoo.
Yeah, she was nuts looking.
She was actually nuts too. Like that wasn't acting. I'm pretty sure that was just a real that was how she really was. Like that was real. That was
she
the
said
most
she had
real
like
thing.
19 different job titles.
Yeah. Because I think they put an ad out or something for people in town, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how they went and interviewed. So they actually interviewed these people. But of course, like the other people, I'm sure they fed them some lines that are telling them what to do. But this lady, they just filmed this lady.
They found these two guys that were fishing while they're interviewing.
I love those guys.
So
those are the two best people in the movie.
There's two guys and like they're fishing. One's kind of more of like a serious buttoned up, and he's like, well, supposedly a young girl had wandered off, and then she came back onto her porch a few days later talking about there was a lady whose feet never touched the ground. And this older dude was like, I ain't no supposedly about it. She wandered off. If you're going to tell the tale. And he's like, nah. And then the old guy's like, I was down here fishing, and I seen like a white misty sort of thing coming out of the water that I couldn't identify. And the dude was like, hell, you were drinking. I wasn't drinking. It's like such a real combo, but like I don't know if that was scripted or not.
I don't know, man. That's the thing. Like the way this was done, you can't tell what was real and what wasn't some of the times, because some of the reactions were real too. Because, like you said, all they gave them, what the directors did was every day they would just give them like a film canister or something, because they had I think it was a 16 millimeter or 8 millimeter camera, the big one. That's the one that you see in black and white. And that's a very old style camera, very old movie like camera. And they would just give them film canisters, and they just gave them cards, like you said, and they wouldn't let each other see. So they're just going off cards. That's it. No lines, no nothing. You're going to get real reactions, real authentic, conversations and situations.
You're making some good points, Ozark Mark. It's pretty wild to think that you can take people and kind of put them in them crazy conditions without not knowing, because you are going to get very real reactions, very authentic reactions, if you're not going to let them have a broad scope of what's actually going on. Now, could you get away with doing that in a movie these days? I don't know. I mean, maybe with young actors. Like I said, very reminiscent of Texas Chainsaw to me. Most of the actors and actresses on Texas Chainsaw, they didn't make any money. Like even in the long run. And think about how well that movie did. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Blair Witch Project, same kind of thing. These guys get paid a little bit from conventions and things like that, but for how much money that fucking movie made, these people should be set for life, especially since they use their real name. Like, there should be some likeness and some all kind of shit. Now, they have good lives. Like Heather, I I think she actually got into like weed growing, and she does some weed growing. I think she had like a fucking book or something to that nature. I know Josh, she's still doing acting heavy, and then I think Mike does acting classes up in New York. So that's pretty cool, man. I mean, I'm glad that they're okay, but still, they should be a little bit better. I hope they hit the conventions hard, because people will seriously pay them good fucking money. And if they get in the circuit, the horror circuit again, I guarantee some director or some fucking, I mean, even Shudder or whoever the fuck it will be will throw them some bread to do something with these people. I mean, they're kind of sitting on gold there.
Yeah.
They deserve to be higher up than they are. And they are in my book.
They do. I mean, they really, they're at that hungry stage, too. I think that's why you got such a good performance out of them. Because they're still hungry.
Yeah, I mean, like, are you going to be able to get Leonardo DiCaprio and Scarlett Johansson and fucking Sandra Bullock to make that? No fucking way. They tell you to eat their ass. Eat my ass, dog. I ain't sitting in the woods. That's what Sandra Bullock would say.
I thought that was Sandra Bullock for a second there. How good that impression was.
Hey, well, people give me that. Like, I've been practicing her a lot. She does. You remember that one movie? She was like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yes, I know exactly what movie you're talking about. Dude, that's dead on.
Yeah, she had the blindfold on, and
if we put a wig on you, you could probably pass as Sandra Bullock.
I've got that too. I think it's the cheekbones.
No, you got weak ass cheekbones. I think it's more of your the lines on your forehead. I think match very well with her.
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I want to get a sculpture made of my head. I feel like that was more prevalent back in the day. Like, you get a sculpture of your head. You don't want a sculpture of your head?
I want a sculpture of my head.
Yeah, man, it'll live on forever. You never know who will have it. Maybe in like 400 years, some kids are playing with it.
I want a statue instead.
Oh, a statue, like naked?
Yeah.
Showing your junk and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Are you gonna beef it up a little?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
Like, I'm gonna get it chubby. I'm gonna get some hang.
No,
I ain't going in there with like a after pool dick or something like that.
Are you gonna tell the sculptor though to add a little?
No, I don't. Hey, listen, pal. Okay, I don't need no extra inches here.
I know, but just even if, just to be extra, to be extra, you know what I mean? Just put like a 16-inch dong on there.
Nah,
Not a big deal.
I mean, 15's the max, but not 16.
Well, I'm just saying if you're making a statue, okay, are you going to like bulk your muscles up more? I'm saying if you make a statue of yourself, you should be like 240, but like all muscle, okay? And then just like a wang to like your kneecap, That's just the statue. It'll live on forever, and they'll be like, I don't know who that guy is. It says Ozark. That guy must have been a badass. He wrestled bears. I don't know. Do you ever really think of who that person was when you see him in a statue, I guess?
No. I
Hmm.
really don't pay attention to statues. Actually, a statue is a bad idea because nobody cares about statues now that I think about it. And they'll end up tearing me down anyway, like they tear down all the other statues
Like
these
they
days.
did Rocky.
Yeah, they tore down. Did they tear? Wait, well, hold on a second. Go back. Did they tear down Rocky?
Like
no,
it-
they didn't.
like-
They Philadelphia people take
Like-
pride in that statue. They ain't gonna tear down Rocky.
They did in the movie, remember?
Oh, they did in the movie.
Yeah, but
Oh, okay. Now that makes sense of what you're talking here.
I think that was Rocky 5 when he lost all his shit and he had to sell everything, and then he put it back on his hat and he started talking more like this again, I'm gonna smoke cigarettes again. I would like to smoke cigarettes.
Oh no, I'm just a fighter.
I don't know, I'm just a fighter. I'm over here. Do you think for a split second, Mark, that if these three people hit the horror scene hard, that they wouldn't be employed very fucking fast? I think they're...
Well, they had trouble finding employment because of this.
Because they stepped out of the horror realm, dog.
Oh, is that what they tried to do?
Yeah, they wanted to be too serious. I mean, Heather got a role with, like, Freddie Prinze Jr., and, like, they did some movies now, but if they went back to horror, we would accept them.
Yeah.
They would have a
They don't
comfy...
seem like the horror kind of actor people, though. I mean,
They need to get there.
if they were smart, they would have had an actual acting career. Well, Josh still does, but maybe a better acting career.
Do scary shit.
To him. No offense to him, but he'd be way more popular in the horror world.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I don't know, man. It's maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, because it's one of those things where that Blair Witch is gonna follow them forever. Like, they are known as the Blair Witch people. That I don't think they're ever going to overcome that title.
They need to do a new take. like with cell phones, okay, and call it like the Motown Wizard, where they get caught in Detroit and it's not a witch.
It's a warlock. Remember?
Oh, it's a warlock.
Yeah, your boy told us that
it's
male witches are warlocks.
Okay.
So then what the fuck are wizards then?
I don't know.
What do wizards do?
Well, they definitely...
Is that a good warlock or what?
I don't know. I mean, how do you bump up the Gandalf levels?
I don't even know what those are.
Oh, I mean, he's a wizard. So let's just say it's the Motown Warlock. No, that doesn't sound as good. So we're going to have to find a different city and a different location, okay? How about the Winnipeg Warlock? The Winnipeg Warlock story, where these guys are downtown, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, some freaky shit starts happening. They can make a good sequel. I'd go see it. I'd pay for it. Look,
didn't they try to make a Blair Witch sequel? Or a second one?
Well, they did. They directly a year afterwards, and it's like not good at all.
There's one at what's the 2016 one? Isn't there one in 2016?
Oh, dude, they tried to They tried to remake it, and it was just hot trash. Well, it was like kind of like a.
Well, they tried to take a modern take, or I thought it was.
No, it was like a part 2. Like they looked for Heather and everybody. They were going to look for her. It was like Heather's fucking family member.
Yeah, they did the same concept with Grave Encounters. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It was on Netflix many years ago.
I don't think I have.
You never seen Grave Encounters? It's funny. I'm not going to go into the whole thing because it's actually very a complex pay attention type of movie, both that 1 and 2, but it's the same concept where except these guys are ghost hunters and they're going to this hospital, but it's actually like another dimension and they can't get out of the hospital, then they die there. That's the summary of the first one. The second one is some kid goes looking for them. He gets trapped in the hospital, but he escapes, and then he makes a movie about them finding him and whatnot. So it's the same concept.
Okay.
But it actually kind of worked for that. But the Blair Witch, the second one, did not work for that.
No,
especially because they showed the witch in the second one. Like, what are you doing? The scariest part of the first Blair Witch was the last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Last 10 seconds when Mike is in the corner, Heather's losing her mind, the camera drops. That's it. So you don't know if the witch got him or that one person, because they told a story about 2 different things, didn't they?
Yeah, there was a man who was a killer who killed all these fucking kids back in the day, and he said he would stand him in the corner because he couldn't take the eyes on him. And then, like, when Heather finally found Mike in this, like, abandoned house's basement, he was standing in the corner. And then she's freaking out, like Mark said, and then boom, camera hits the ground.
And it's just, that's it. That's the end of the movie. That's all you get.
Yeah.
And then it pops up the credits, which have a director, executive producer, and all this, and people still thought it was real, which is hilarious. But that's how good of a job they did.
Dude, they tricked everybody.
They tricked the world, basically.
They did, dude. Tricking the world. That's absolutely crazy. I don't even know. I mean, you can't know that something's going to work, but they went for something, dude, and they nailed it. I mean, they nailed it, and they got rich. They got rich as hell. That would be a cool thing, like, if you're, like, set for life, and you're like, yep, you know what pay for this house? The Blair Witch Project.
You know what pay for this job? 3 jerk-offs in the woods.
I really do hope that one of them does a horror movie, especially Mike, because I feel like Heather's kind of content with what she's doing. I think Josh has a little career, but Mike does, like, acting classes. He should do a fucking scary movie. Somebody should hire him to do a scary movie, because I think he did a great job. He was a good actor. He says, I kicked that fucking map in the creek. They got pissed at him.
I love when he starts singing the Pledge of Allegiance, because that's totally something we would do if we're pissed off and someone said that. Not in America. This is America. And just irritated. America, God shed His grace on us.
He was freaking out. They eventually start losing their mind because the first day or two, they're really doing their documentary shit. I mean, they're a little upset because they feel like they're not on the beaten path, and they start to give Heather some shit because she's the one that's at the helm of all this. She's the one kind of calling the shots. So they start to get pissed. They start yelling. And then by the last couple days, man, I mean, They wake up one morning, and there's piles of rocks all around their tent, real freaky like. One night their tent gets shaken up and they have to like run through the woods. And then at one point throughout the day when they're walking, they find like all these, I'm sure you've seen the Blair Witch symbol, like the stick figure symbol. They find all these fucking things made out of sticks and twigs. They're like laced all throughout the woods. And it's really freaky. I mean, if you were to be in the woods walking and lost and you found a bunch of shit like that, you would be like, what in the fuck is this?
Yeah.
We are going to die. We need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Would you have considered climbing a really tall tree and then looking for a break in the trees?
I thought about that because I'm thinking, because here's the thing. Like, one thing that left me satisfied, thinking that this was more real, what made it seem real, because in a horror movie, people do stupid things, and it makes you realize they're a horror movie, right?
Yes.
Everything they did, I can't think of anything better, something that they couldn't do. They tried everything that I feel like you or me would have done the same exact thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we would have tried to fuck the map, but the map ain't working, so we said, fuck the map, we'll get pissed and throw the map.
We would have followed the river.
We would have followed the river. That's a very logical thing. And then we had a compass. So if that doesn't work, it's like, all right, south didn't work. When they circle around, because what happens is they start, I guess once you cross those stick figures, you go into the Blair Witch's realm or whatever the fuck it is, and you're not getting out of the woods.
No.
You're just going to go in a bunch of circles all the time. So they were going south, and then they realized they went in a circle all day. So they're just defeated. But then the next day, Heather and Mike are talking. They're like, well, south didn't work. Should we try east?
And at that point, Josh is missing.
Yeah.
Like, they wake up and Josh is missing.
Yeah. And then Mike, again, this is just a real reaction I feel like you and I would say. Just defeated, hungry, cold. Well, which way is the Wicked Witch? Is that west?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the Wicked Witch of the West. All right, well, let's try east.
You know what part got me with that was like, it's just Heather and Mike. Josh is missing. These people are just ready to fucking die. You could just see it.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, you look over, Mike's, like, kind of rocking back and forth, and he's smoking a cigarette. And he's like, I found a couple smokes in the bottom of my bag. I'm still alive because I'm smoking.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, dog. Like, that would be some shit like a human being would say.
Oh,
Like, you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you
Oh,
would,
yeah.
like, just trying to lighten the mood, but, like, there's not much to lighten.
No.
I would have definitely, like, in my bias, I feel like these people weren't as smart as myself, even though we would probably reach the same outcome, because water has to come from somewhere. There's no circle rivers.
Well, there is in the Blair Witch, of course, but right. I mean, thinking about it logically.
Yes.
So that's what they did. Water has to come from somewhere.
I would have, like, literally walked in the river.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah. I walked in the river. Like, I don't know, trying to climb a tree line, but that's one thing that they did in the second Blair Witch, the 2016 one, because they had a drone. So they had that idea, which was, look for a break in the trees. There's nothing. There's nothing. It was just all trees. That's it. But, yeah, I think I definitely would have tried to that's an option I would have tried.
mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I definitely would have tried for that, but no luck,
Like, analyzing the movie, like, it makes me, it's like it freaks me out to even think about it. Like, because that's, damn, dude, like, we just got lost in the woods and we fucking died. And, like, in the middle of the night, they start hearing noises and shit. And, like, the first night, they're like, I don't know what that is. Or, like, second night, they're like, I don't know what that is. But then the third night, they're like, is it deer? He's like, that's not fucking deer, man. That sounds like the same shit that was from the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, just reality starts to kick in. And then Heather the next day is like, what do you think that was last night? And Josh is like, personally, I think it was somebody fucking with your head. She's like, well, how would people know we're out here? It's like, I don't know, man. You ever seen Deliverance? Like,
Yeah.
like, he just kind of accepted, like, somebody's fucking with us and they do not want us here. Let's get out.
Oh, yeah. Mike is like, I don't want, if it's locals, I ain't trying to fuck with locals. And if it's not locals, I ain't trying to fuck with that either.
Yeah, that was such a real thing, too.
It is. I'm telling you. Like, you can relate to them so much because they're doing exactly what you would probably do in this situation.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing, they hear their friend screaming in a house. If one of our friends, if you and me and somebody else was with us and they went missing, would you go towards that sound of them screaming?
Yeah, like if your friend's in danger, like even too, especially if you're like, dude, there might be ghosts, there might be whatever, but like I'm not gonna let my man Ozark Mark just die by himself by some ghost creature. Like,
well, I wouldn't have been there. I would have been one of the survivors. They ain't taking me.
Well, let's just say if they were to have gotten you, I wouldn't have let you go out like no bitch. We'll go out like a bitch together. Like I'm gonna come with you, and I'm gonna try to save you, and so yeah, and if you're not exactly sure, like you said, they hear him in the middle of the night. They hear him, they hear him screaming, and this is like kind of the final night. And I mean, what else do? You gotta find him. You gotta go save him. And then they end up stumbling on this house, and then like obviously, like we said, they go in the basement, and Mike's in the corner, and then Heather gets her fucking shit kicked in, and she just bam, end of movie. It was so abrupt. Now, I do think nowadays, since people are used to cell phone footage, this movie might be able to pick back up and scare kind of a younger audience more so than it would in like the late 2000s, because we were used to such good shots and such good pictures. Whereas now, I think everybody's so used to, hey man, let's film this on my phone. Somebody could watch this and be like, holy shit.
Well, a shaky cam is a regular thing now. You ever see TV shows? I don't know if you noticed it or not. There's a lot of sitcoms are done with just shaky handheld footage. A lot of your like newer sitcoms and stuff, like the Office, for example, it's done with shaky camera movement.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever noticed it or not, but it's kind of irritating if I'm not wanting to watch it. Like if I watch The Blair Witch, I know I'm going to get shaky camera footage, right?
Yes.
But when I'm watching a sitcom, I don't want it just sitcom, and it kind of makes you sick.
Yeah, give me some regular stuff here.
Which is funny about that. That's one of the complaints they got about the movie is people complained about the shaky camera movement because they weren't used to it back then, and they complained and tried to get their money back, which is hilarious. Like, no, you just watched like the whole thing. Like, it's not my fault you got sick.
Yeah, you suck.
Stupid ass. Do you go sue the roller coaster if that makes you puke? No.
People are dumb.
People are really fucking dumb, Christian Ramey.
They are, Ozark Mark, but that's okay, because for some of the dumb people out there, I think we can educate some of these people.
Well, how the hell would we do that?
Well, I'll tell you.
What do you know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages and genders and sizes and curves. This is the What Do You Know here.
What do you know?
We're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie here. Check this out, right? I got a fact.
Please tell me what you know.
I'll tell you what you know right now here. Check this. No, what I know, not what you know. I know. So, later in the movie, it's towards like the most final days. This is after Josh, the ponytail guy, gets taken, right?
Yeah.
They don't know where he is.
Yeah.
But they hear his screams.
Okay.
And in the movie, when you hear his screaming, even out in the distance or wherever, and then that creepy pedo house there, looking
he was
house.
having sex?
No, pedo looking house. I'm not saying there's a pedo in there. I'm saying it's a pedo looking house.
Because he's an adult.
You've seen that house.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it like I'm pretty sure a kid got diddled in there at least once or twice.
There was some diddles.
There was a double diddles.
With the diddler.
Diddles in the diddlet house. But anyway, enough with the diddler house here. You hear Josh screams. And in the movie, they sound like it's actually Josh screaming, like he's off camera screaming or something.
Yeah, it was him screaming.
Yeah,
I
no,
heard it.
yeah. Well, it technically was him screaming because they had a boom box. And they played his screams. They recorded him screaming, and they played it through a boombox. Because, hey, he's gone. He's offset. I ain't going to pay this guy another $1,000 just to scream in the woods. What,
that
are you
didn't
crazy?
Sound like no boombox.
I know. That's because these people, they got a fantastic producer like this fucking show has, and you can make it with the EQs and the compressions and the noise gates and all the stuff you guys already know, the 7 bands, the low, high, mids, all that stuff. You make it sound fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I know though. That's all I got here.
I know a little something here.
Oh, do you now? Why don't you share with the rest of the fucking class, sir?
Okay, so let me tell you what I know here.
What do you know here?
So there's a part in the movie where these people get, they're sleeping in a tent. Then the tent starts shaking. You remember they hear babies and shit outside the tent. So they start running for their lives, okay? And they're hiding in the fucking woods. And they don't go back to the tent till it's daylight. And they look, and the tent's all fucking ransacked. There's stuff's all over the floor, all over the ground. And then Josh, ponytail guy, says he finds the stuff. And then Mike's like, yo, what's that on your stuff? It looks like slime. He says, it's not slime, man. It's water. He's like, oh, no, fuck, that is slime, man. And he touches it. So what they used for the infamous slime in the scene was just your traditional KY jelly lubricant for sexual activities. But it wasn't for sexual activities. It was witch goo.
It was... It was witch goo.
Yeah. Oh, no, don't get the witch goo. And he got the witch goo on him, and that's why she picked him. She wanted to slime him.
They should, KY Jelly should come out with a brand called Witch Goo.
Yeah. When you want to get spicy, put some witch glue on you. Glue.
No.
Witch glue.
Not glue, you ass.
If you put witch glue.
No, the big old WG Witch Goo.
Which goo is this?
Are you telling me around Halloween it wouldn't make a killing? We need to copy that right now. The Sloppy Horror Podcast is coming out with witch goo.
When I go to the Subway, hey, put that sandwich goo all over.
We got to make it glow in the dark, too.
Sandwiches?
Sandwiches. I like it on sandwiches.
Sandwiches?
Is that all you know? You got another fact here.
No, that's all I know.
Oh, hey, I got a fact here real quick, something you may not know. Now,
yeah,
you were talking about the scene where they're running from the tent.
Yeah.
First things first, that scene, they had to do that like 5 times because they kept fucking it up. But they were supposed to look at this figure that they made. They made a big standing stick figure out of like wrapped in gauze. Right?
Gauze.
And you see it too. Heather's like going, what is that? What the fuck is that? Ah! But the camera never pans to see the figure. So we missed the figure.
That's bull.
They did it 5 times and they still can't get the fucking figure. These fucking amateurs. But they did a good job.
It might have been weird if it was in there.
You know what I thought about that? And it's even creepier screaming, her yelling, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Without seeing it.
And not seeing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit more creepy there.
So look at these facts. Now you fellas and ladies know these facts about these movies that you may or may not have known. So now you know what we know. We know together.
We just had a ween-orgasm there.
Wow, Mark. What informative stuff. I appreciate that.
We're fucking educating the shit out of these people, I'm telling you.
Yeah, man.
I'm telling you.
Well, we're wrapping up with what do you know and that segment, but it's like we cannot get away with talking about this movie without rating it. You're aware of that, correct?
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah! We gotta rate this bitch, Christian Ramey. So let's go on to the first category in your rating system, which is casting.
So you got just the 3 of them. Well, then I guess plus the people that you're interviewing. I can you can go all different kinds of ways with this, but in my honest opinion, I'm going to say 3 because I don't think any other actors except for these 3, Heather, Mike, and Josh, and even the people that they interviewed, I don't think this movie would have worked if it was any other way. And I think these people fucking made it. I think it was perfect casting.
Absolutely.
I think it's a 3 out of 3.
Yeah.
You believe everyone?
Mm-hmm. You know what they said they did? for the casting. First, they put an ad in the paper real quick, and they said, they explained what it was. So the first thing they'd say when people walk in is to say, you've just been in jail for 9 years. This is your parole hearing. Why should we let you out? And if they hesitated even for a second, like that's the first thing they said to them. They didn't say hi or hello or I want you to start here. That's what you're doing. That's what they said. If they hesitated for even a second, they say it's done. So apparently that's how they got Heather, Mike, and Josh is when they walked in there, they didn't hesitate at all. And I tell you what, it shows because they didn't hesitate at all. 3 out of 3 for casting.
Yep.
I completely agree with you with that. That's a very good rating. So we got 3 out of 10 right now. Now we're going on to the next category in the sloppy horror rating. And that is kills.
Yeah, and let's be honest, it's pretty weak in this movie. We don't have any really on-screen deaths. We just have some kind of abrupt camera drops. We have some off-camera kills. So really, we have to give this a half a point on kills. Half a point.
No, I agree with that. You don't see any of the kills.
Mm-hmm.
You're just, all you know is that these people died. You know that there's kills in here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see any of them. You don't know when it happens, but you know that they're dead. So
if that's your favorite category in rating a horror movie, this will not be your movie. But you might still enjoy it.
So that's 3.5 out of 10. We got one category left, and that is...
Well, we have one more 3-point category.
Right, that's what I said. We got 2 more categories. One of them is 3 points. One of them is 1 point. We're going on to the 3-point, which is fear.
Let's see. How scary is this movie? Real fucking scary, especially for the time it came out. This is another 3 out of 3. I mean, hands down. This movie changed movies. People thought these people were actually dead. These actors and actresses their parents got sympathy cards. Like, I'm sorry about the loss of your child.
Yeah.
I mean, this fucked people up. It's still talked about. It became a culture phenomenon. It was mentioned everywhere. Everyone you know have seen this movie, especially if they're over the age of 25. I'm pretty sure you've seen the Blair Witch Project. Like, this is... Even people who don't really like horror have seen this movie. And I don't know, man. For it to captivate audiences like that, it definitely had to be scary. It definitely was groundbreaking. That's a 3 out of 3 too, Mark.
Absolutely. I pretty much agree with you. I'm saying it's still kind of watching it alone at night, no matter where you are, in certain scenes, it still kind of freaks you out. And, it even freaked the directors out. And they're the one that fucking made the movie. He said one of the directors for the 25th anniversary, or the 20th anniversary, he was talking about it. And he said when he was in the studio editing that final house scene, like, he started hearing noises in the studio. He said, "No, that scene just freaked him out." He's like, "Nope, I'm out." And then he left, and he was there. He filmed the damn thing. He was probably the one that hit Heather in the head or something. And that still freaks out the person editing it. Like, that is some scary shit, sir.
That is very scary, man.
So now we're on to 6.5 out of 10. I believe, and we got one category left, and that is, do Christian Ramey fucks with it? So, Christian Ramey, do you fucks with this movie?
Absolutely.
Better, you've seen it like 25 fucking times, you said.
A year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, if you had to, if I died and I could ask, because I'll ask God which movies have I watched the most, and the ticker for this one, it definitely has to be in my probably top 3, but definitely top 5. I've just loved this fucking movie, and I know not everybody agrees, and that's okay. And like I said, I do hold it close to my heart. It just was a part of me growing up, and definitely fucks with it. So what's that at? 7.5?
That's 7.5.
Yeah, 7.5 out of 10. I think that's a solid score for the Blair Witch Project.
I think it's a pretty good score.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And this sloppy horror rating, I'm telling you, it's pretty fucking accurate.
Yeah, it's pretty it's a fail-safe program here. Now, we do have some exciting news for you guys going on. So, like I said, we've been upgrading the studio here, and very soon, these audio episodes will be available on YouTube with some video. So for you guys that want to watch our stupid faces, you can do that now, okay? Not right now, but you will very soon. Like I'm saying, matter of a couple days, maybe some weeks here, but we're up and rolling, okay? Ozark Mark's the best producer in the whole damn world.
That's right, I am.
And he's just making this shit happen.
That's
So,
right.
No, you got to be modest. You got to say, no, don't say that.
All right, sorry. Do it again.
And that's it, because I know Ozark Mark's the best damn producer in the world.
Oh, stop, man. No, I'm not. I mean, I'm like, okay. I mean, I try.
No. Damn right you are. You're the best damn producer.
I just give it my all, and I go for it. I don't let anybody judge me. Okay? I am chasing my dream.
Don't you hate that, like, fake modesty when somebody will do that just to be like that, just to explain like that? Like, oh, no, not me. I, myself, just am a human being who just tries to. Like, that happens a lot. It's just like, will you shut the fuck up?
And knock it off.
All right, so we're going to have some video for you boys and girls. So that'll be a lot more interactive, and that's going to spark and alive our YouTube channel again. And, I just want to make sure that we have stuff available for all of you. We're trying to get our platforms all in line, and you're just going to start to notice big things coming out. And we love your guys' feedback. I notice a lot of you guys are listening from all across the planet, so get to us on our email, sloppyhorrorpodcast@outlook.com. You can get to us, at Twitter, and that's @horrorsloppy. That's our handle there. And then we're all over. You can find us on Facebook, wherever you want to be, okay? You could find us. I want you to message us and say, hey, I want to hear an episode about this, or hey, I hate you guys. Hey, give me a t-shirt. Whatever kind of stuff you're asking for, I want to hear it, and I want to know where you're from. And what do you want to know, Ozark Mark? He wants to know what you're wearing.
That's right. Nobody has done that yet. So somebody do it. And the first person that does it,
you get merch.
Yeah, I'll reward you with something. We'll write your name down on a little sticky note somewhere in this bitch, and we will send you a fantastic T-shirt. But that's only for the first person. If you're the second person, well, you fucking took too long, dude. My bad. What do you want me to do?
Now I know that you guys might think, wow, you guys are some foul-mouthed little fuckers. Well, this is a horror movie podcast, and if you're watching the Blair Witch Project, I'm assuming you don't care too much about profanity. Once again, I can't articulate myself without using profanity, but I choose to fucking not. I like to. So no. Let me finish my thought here, Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. But what I'm saying to you is, we can cuss and we can be a tad raunchy, but that's not. This is just your run-of-the-mill Ozark Mark and Christian Ramey. Very soon, we're going to have a tad more, let's just say, wild content on our Patreon. So for some of you maybe depraved human beings, for some of you weirdos out there, and this isn't sexual, Ozark Mark and Christian, but this is just kind of Christian and Ozark going a little wild. We're going to have some content up on the Patreon, some fun stuff on there. So, show us some love, help us out here, and we're just big things are in the future. We're very excited, guys. So please give us a little feedback. We'd love to hear back from you. What about you, Ozark Mark? Besides what they're wearing, what do you want?
Hey guys, it's me, Ozark Mark, and this is Christian Ramey, and this is the Sloppy Horror Podcast, and we'd like to talk about horror movies, and we could get a little bit raunchy at times, but it's great fun.
Sometimes we can get a little wacky. You can't take us anywhere.
Everybody's podcast commercial is so bad, man.
It is.
Look, I don't want to bash other people. I'm sorry, but
you're being a hater, Ozark Mark.
I'm the biggest hater, but it's true. It's true. They all do the same thing, and it's fun to make fun of that. But Christian Ramey, I'll tell you another thing. If you were ever going to the woods for 3 days to film a documentary on something stupid, and I didn't go, do not call me to let your dogs out again.
Okay. I'm
They
going
do
to.
not. Your little dog, Chihuahua Thor, does not like me
Thor
whatsoever.
loves you.
No, he does not.
He's
man.
playing hard to get.
I was here for 30 minutes. That dog barked constantly. He did not shut up. And I freed the little fucker from a cage. Like, I gave you freedom, and you're going to bitch at me? Like, what the hell?
What a jerk.
He wouldn't even go outside to pee, dude. Like, he just sat there on the couch and just barked. I'm serious. He did not stop barking. And then, Lexi, she's a sweetheart. The other dog, she was just, you know how when you were in school and you used to take a pencil and make it fucking wiggle and look like rubber?
Yeah.
That's what she was doing with her body the entire time.
Yeah.
Just getting the Gumby wiggle on, running in and out of the house, which, I guess she went potty at one point. But then it came back to the point where I had to get them both in their crates. And you were at a wedding this time, and you wouldn't answer the phone. But Lexi went into her crate, no problem. Thor, however, was still barking and would not let me get here near him whatsoever, dude. I tried everything. I tried, like, little pieces of crackers, like, to lure him in there, like the old school trail, just hoping he would follow that. That didn't work. And then I just got tired of it, so I started chasing him. Like, I was like, dude, it's a little chihuahua. Like, I'm just going to come up and grab you and then put you in a crate. But he kept running away from me. And he's a quick little fucker, dude. But you have a house where it's just the center stairs and you can go around in a circle.
Yeah.
I chased him all around the circle, cut him off halfway, and he would just start, like, and then go the other way. I tried to lure him in there, and then it's to the point where, like, all right, dude, I'm not terrorizing your dog anymore. Like, I just left. I was like, look, dude, Lexi's in the crate. Thor won't let me go near him, and that's all I got for you.
Nah, it's okay. He's older. He's fucking weird. Well, that's okay. You can watch my kids next time. We'll take the dogs. It's just
I don't think you want me to watch your kids, man.
You'll do a bang-up job. You'll be a real serious dad.
No, I won't.
Yeah. No sugar after 7 p.m. What is this? The Funny Farm?
It's a funny farm.
I had it with all this damn malarkey. Now get up there and say your prayers. Go to bed. You've had 5 minutes.
Don't bring that back, damn it. I just got over that. Don't bring that back.
So I'll tell you, little boys and girls, I thank you guys so much for checking us out here at the Sloppy Horror Podcast. And you better come back next week, especially if you like clowns. And that's all I'm really going to give you. You're lucky I give you any kind of little flavor there. So my clown fans, where you at? You better be back next Monday to watch this damn episode. And hopefully, let's hope we have some video for it. But if not, I really am confident the following week we can have some video content up there. And then we're going to get wacky and wild. You know what? You can't bring us anywhere because we're just so insane. Yeah, one time we had a whole 12-pack of Code Red Mountain Dew.
Will you shut the fuck up? Jesus Christ.
I like movies. Sometimes we've stayed up to watch movies till like it was like 4 a.m. one time, and it was crazy. It was way past bedtime. Bedtime was like way late. We didn't wake up till late that day. You guys like that kind of stuff? Will we talk like that? I think that don't worry.
I really don't know what to do at this point. I feel like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands right now because I don't know how you just did.
So you can't take us anywhere, man.
All right, that's it.
Whoa.
That's it. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
What, guys?